Scarlet and Violet are easy games, right? Not if you play it like how I did. Scarlet and Violet are one of the first Pokemon games in like a million years where I felt like you kinda actually needed an actual team of at least more than just your starter to beat the game. This might be because I chose the cat. Fine, okay then. I'll beat the game using as little grinding as possible to keep my gamer card valid. The minimum battles challenge is a difficult one, no matter the game usually. As far as I know, this challenge has its origins with JRose11, who is excellent. At least I was inspired by him, so shoutouts to him. Only mandatory battles. This means no extra trainers, no catching wild Pokemon, no rematches if you lose. So if you want to fight them again, you have to reset the game. This will also mean I'll basically be under-leveled the entire game, because in this game, random trainers are all entirely optional. No items in battle either. As well, no rare candies or any outside sources of EXP such as picnic sandwiches or EXP candies. We're gonna start actual gameplay soon, but I'm really sorry, but there are a few disclaimers we need to get through. There will be spoilers for the game's plot, because this is an entire playthrough of the game. So if you don't want those, click off in 3, 2, 1. Kita frickin' dies! I debated very hard in my mind as to whether or not I should take advantage of the fact that this game is permanently on Switch mode instead of set. If you don't know, Switch mode is when the game presents you with the option of switching out your Pokemon every time you knock out one of the opponent's Pokemon. Set mode is when they don't present you with that option. I eventually chose to play with set mode because I don't want a million billion comments just telling me that, man. I eventually chose to play with Switch mode because this is the Nintendo approved experience of Scarlet and Violet. It's a joke, I'm playing with set mode. It doesn't actually matter that much though. Clavel comes into our house and shoos us away to our room so we can have a chat with our mom. Which reminds me that he picks the starter that you're weak to, so it's at this point I'm estimating that I'll have to save Team Star Story for last because of this. I picked Quaxly as my starter because, well, Fuecoco is slow and I didn't know if that would like do, given that being slow means getting hit, which isn't a luxury we can really afford with how low level we'll be, and I already picked the cat the first time I played, so I just wanted something new. Consider that the final boss of the other stories have ace Pokemon that are weak to Quaquaval, Fire Skeledridge for Nemona, Dark Mabosstiff for Arven. I named my Quaxly Tchaikovsky because look at this first goddamn round. There are so many Pokemon to avoid here. Shit's like Toho. You can't run from the Lechonk in the catching tutorial. You either need to catch it or destroy it, which is why I caught it. And then I button mashed and pressed pound instead of water gun by accident, and Nemona just kind of destroyed me. Hang in there, fat ass! I was freaking out because I hadn't saved since before I picked my starter, but the game actually just kind of lets you progress even if you lose to Nemona here, so that's kind of funny, but that's also precious EXP that we'll never get now. Surely that won't matter. Farboard. Jump! I tried switch training against the Team Stargrunt, and this Strudel scares the shit out of me with a massive critical hit, so I switched to Lechonk, and then he spends the rest of the battle just staring at me until he dies. You know why I don't like Geeta? Her eyes are too close together. Look at her official art, and then look at her in game. She looks like the guy from the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. So since we can't catch any new Pokemon, we can only use Pokemon we obtain through non-combat means. Let me list the Pokemon you can get this way. Your starter, the Lechonk from the catching tutorial, any Pokemon from a mystery gift, the Galarian Meowth that you get for finishing Salvatore's storyline, and the legendary. Only mystery gift Pokemon kinda just feel wrong to use. I kinda want this to be sort of a guide for minimum battles so anyone else can follow along, and mystery gift Pokemon are only around for a limited time. Galarian Meowth, I found out, is also only available after you beat 7 gyms, so yeah, the original plan was to breed Meowth with Lechonk, and then just get a party of 4 Berserkers and the Lechonk and your starter, but clearly that's not gonna work. So it might be here that you're saying, why not just reset the game, get a female starter, and breed that? To that I say, yeah, I reset the entire game and did exactly that. So no, okay, scrap the Quaxly. I'm sorry, Tchaikovsky, but we need a Pokemon that can breed with Lechonk if we want a party of 6, and who better than Fuecoco? Yeah, I could have chose Sprigatito at this point again, but I just, listen, there are so many cutscenes at the beginning of the game. I was very demoralized that I had to restart. And so because I was returning from a brief trip to hell, I made my eyes red and gave my character the frowny mouth. This is also, by the way, how I learned that your mom's appearance is based on the character you pick at the beginning. Normally, I'd be totally crushed at this point, at this turn of events, but the thrill of getting a female Fuecoco pretty much carried me all the way back to where I was when we left off. I named my Fuecoco Superbuck because I named my Coco Superbuck. And I rearranged Ember this time to be at the top so that when I do mash, I use it. I've learned my lesson.
I've been a bad crocodile.
Okay, so skip all this bullshit. I named the replacement Lechonk Ghost of Fatass, or Gofa for short. I wanted to make sure that it had the ability Aroma Veil, so that it had the ability Lingering Aroma later on, in case I needed to remove an annoying ability from the opponent. But when would I ever need to do that? Also, if you turn off cutscenes in the settings, look at this goofy Miraidon. Hey, I mean, what can you expect from the dick and balls Pokemon though? I tried beating Nemona at the gate, but she just kind of squished me. So I went off looking for Oranberries for like an hour, and they gave me every single item in the entire game other than Oranberry. So yeah, the fact that Nemona gave us enough Wooper Slime to make 3 Mud Slap TMs, and therefore a way to lower an opponent's accuracy, kind of changed the entire run. You'll see just how astronomically this one move changes my entire experience, encapsulated in the second Nemona battle, the one I lost when I used Quaxley. Now keep in mind, this fight has her with over-leveled Pokemon and Terastallization when we can't use it. So this fight is only possible at all because I have Mud Slap. Even then, I can get paralyzed, her Pokemon can luck through the accuracy drops. In the end, I just barely hang on even after eating an Oranberry. I buy a Power Lens, a Charcoal, and a Quick Claw, and then I get caught in a Dormammu time loop infinitely revisiting Delibird presents because they angle you the opposite way you were going when you went inside. I'm playing for a bit with Superbuck holding the Power Lens because I want to at least guarantee she has as much special attack as possible. Keep in mind, this isn't necessarily a speed run, so I can take my time to do tedious stuff like look for items or do math. The key thing is not the time it takes to beat the game, but the number of battles I do. For context, in speedruns of this game, at the time of writing this, people stock up on EXP candies by exploring the world, and then use either a really overleveled Sprigatito or Flamigo to beat the game while using items in battle. We, on the other hand, are counting catching Pokemon as a battle since it resolves combat, so no Flamigo, and we're not using candies or items in battle. There's like a lot of cutscenes, Finally, we're able to disembark, and first things first, Gofa and Superbuck will be wed. It's so beautiful. Oh, hello there. Welcome aboard. We got Punsley. We got Nessun Dorma. We got Interior Crocodile Alligator. And the 6th man. I don't really want to train them per se, but it's good to just have numbers so you can have sacrifices and support Pokemon. So yeah, this is our team. I then grinded for random items in the overworld to sell for like an hour so I could give my Pokemon all the power items. Since EVs are limited in this run until you can buy vitamins, I need to squeeze out as many as possible. I'm not going to interact with any other game or program either, so Pokemon Home, even though it's not compatible at the time of this recording, trading over Pokemon from other games, none of that. It would defeat the point of this challenge. I also am not using this because I'm counting this as a battle. If you disagree with the rules, then just please shut up. Just shut up. One good thing about these games, theoretically, is that at any given point, you usually have like 3 things to do. So for example, if you're level 20, you can either fight the grass guy, Skrillex, or this. So for us, doing only required battles, there's always going to be some place to get experience points. The bad part is that this game's level curve is really weird. You'll see soon. First things first, I fight Katie, and I realize quickly that I need to evaluate a strategy. So I need Superbuck to survive as many battles as possible, so that at least one of my Pokemon are as strong as they can possibly be. I have a few glimmers of hope for this battle. Fury Swipes and Fury Cutter are both not 100% accurate, and as I'm thinking this, I realize I can just get the most clutch-ass burn in the world and win the battle without even needing to do a Superbuck. I tried fighting Team Star. I tried fighting Brassius. Kind of hilariously, you can actually lose the run if you encounter one of the fleeing Sunflora. So out of the 10 Sunflora you choose to find, none of them can be the fleeing ones because they force you to battle them. Now, Brassius has an annoying ass Sleep Powder Petalil, but the real threat is this Sudowoodo. It's like, yeah, I have fire type attacks for it, but it has Rock Throw, and it one-shots Gofa, my Mud Slapper, so I can't even reduce its accuracy safely. That leaves everything to Superbuck, until Superbuck gets her ass kicked. But not only does 6th man avoid 2 rock throws in a row, the Madman gets a critical hit and burns the Sudowoodo, leading to my victory. That's the clutch gold. Because Giacomo was far out of my reach at the moment and Titans use wild Pokemon AI, I figured I had better chances of lucking out with Cloth. Only, I don't know where he is. I finally found him. After like a million years, I don't know why it took me so long. I tried to use Pocket Sand on him with Gofa, but he got destroyed. so I guess Super Buck's gotta do it. Now when you don't have many turns to spare, since accuracy drops give diminishing returns, I just dropped accuracy twice, and then I brought in 6th man to do as much as he could. And the much that he could was just beating Cloth straight up. By standing in the blind spot in between Cloth's mustache hairs, 6th man somehow avoided 90 trillion rock smashes in a row, giving me the win. It's here when I learned that there are no available EXP power fire meals in the game that you can get at restaurants. In contrast, grass and water have like a billion EXP power meals that you can get at like restaurants and food carts, but it's not fire. Not fire! I kind of like don't know what to do now though. I thought I'd be pretty decently leveled because I just did like 3 story things, but it's here that I realized that I don't think there's gonna be any easy parts to this run at all. I do manage to beat the guard in front of the Dark Team Star base, but Giacomo himself just destroys me. Note that since Team Star leaders don't give EVs or EXP, I can lose to them without resetting, and it doesn't technically have to count as a battle. It just saves time on resetting the entire program on my Switch. Also, I'm not counting the 30 Pokemon you need to beat during Team Star raids as battles personally, but if you do, you can just add 150 to the on-screen counter at the very end of all of this. So since I have literally nothing else I think I can do, I try to take on the Titan Bird, only I realize I can't rely on Mud Slap now, because like, it's a bird. Bro, I fought this motherfucker for like an hour hoping for something. And finally, Punsley gets a Quick Claw Ember burn really early on. Even with getting a burn pretty much as early as I was going to possibly get, and getting like pretty decent random move RNG, I still only had Super Buck and Gofa alive for the second phase of the fight. The bird, by the way, is the only Titan where you can't heal in between the first and second phases, so no EXP to my other Freycocos for this one, I guess. Arvin, absolute sweetie though. Just caresses me in his bosom and tells me it's gonna be okay. Yeah, he basically solos the Titan, which is kind of what we're gonna need him to do for all the other Titans going forward. Now it's here, absolutely critical to the success of this run, Crocolore learns Yawn. With a way to put Pokemon asleep, I can now have a few precious turns to either switch Pokemon around, get damage, or set up Mud Slaps. Yo, check out the fucked up evolution animation. I unironically really love this about this game. I guess now is also a decent time to explain that I'm putting items on my Pokemon as the situation calls for it. If I predict the fight won't need all of my Pokemon to participate to clutch it out, I give them the EV training items to increase their stats. If I do need all of them though, usually they're holding some combination of Rocky Helmet, which you can get for free in Zepapico, Quick Claws, Focus Band, Charcoal for Super Buck, and later Silk Scarf for Gofa. I still can't beat Giacomo though, so I go and try to take on my favorite gym leader, Iono, to possibly see. Oh god! Yeah, Nemona's Rockruff is also immune to Yawn, so this was just not working. I can just lose and the game progresses, but I need EXP. I also could get like 9 Quick Claws in a row after hitting a Mud Slap that makes Rockruff and Pommy miss all of their attacks forever, but I'd rather not wait until I get literal lottery odds for that to happen, so I, believe it or not, go for the next Titan. And I beat it on the first try. I can't remember the last time we beat something on our first try. Nothing really happened during these fights, so we just kind of straight up won. After this though, it apparently gave us the push that we need to beat Nemona, because we do beat Nemona. Jesus Christ, my autocorrect changed Nemona to pneumonia while writing the script. Sorry, Larry fans. I love him too, but Iono's gotta be my favorite gym leader. Bro, she even says, oh noes. That's a nostalgia trip, bro. If you're old enough to remember when people on the internet actively said that often, then you probably had to look up the answer when Clavel asked what Shugi meant. Anyways, I got my ass whooped by Iono, so I figure at this point, for shiggles, I'll try beating the Titan Iron Treads, and I actually win first try. I even got really good luck with having a lot of my Pokemon survive to gain the EXP for it, but I figure I might save this Titan and its EXP for just a little later. I'm not actually sure if it's like efficient mathematically to save EXP that you get from high level opponents for later, but that was my logic at the time. So now's about as good of time as any to make some progress on Team Star. I beat Giacomo finally, rather easily too, and I guess that gave me the confidence to beat Iono, cause like, I do. Her Wattrel is immune to Mud Slaps, so I can only rely on Yawn at first, but her Belly Bolt is really easy to set up Mud Slaps with. Her Luxio is kind of a big problem, not because it's strong, but because it makes her the first trainer we fought that has 4 Pokemon. I get past it eventually with the power of evasion hacks, and finally, we're up against her Mismagius with as much health as we're gonna get. The key to this battle is having enough survivors up to her Mismagius to be able to put it to sleep, so that Superbot can 4-hit KO it with Terrastalize Incinerate. I think Mismagius realizes it can't 2-hit KO me with Hex anymore, so it uses Confuse Ray, but thank god I get through all of it and defeat her. Anyways, I go and get some precious EXP from the fire team star guard before beating Mela as well. That was kind of uneventful, it just kind of happened. Now let me tell you, this is the hardest part of the entire game. See, this game's level curve is really weird because after you beat Iono, whose strongest Pokemon was like level 24 or something like that, pretty much the next weakest opponent, Kofu, has Pokemon in their level 30s. I need all the help I can get. So firstly, I beat the guy in front of the Poison Team Stargate, who is currently the easiest trainer in this entire segment of the game. I got my nose absolutely honked by this random ass Floatzel trainer you have to beat to give Kofu back his wallet. And while I can probably trick it out with some like really good Quick Claw and Mud Slap luck, that's hard to do while preserving Pokemon. I fight this guy so many times that eventually I figure out how to beat him, but I can't do it with more than 2 Pokemon alive for the EXP, so I just reset. I really need Gofa to get as much EXP as he can, since he's the only one that can stand a chance against Kofu's Pokemon to get Mud Slaps on them. And by the way, this guy's Clauncher, while weaker than his Floatzel, because it's actually slower than a few of my guys, has Hone Claws, which raises accuracy and therefore pretty much invalidates Mud Slap. I really try. I keep losing. I go for Larry and see if he's any easier, but he's impossible. So kind of sucks because you can't even fight his gym trainers because they're all skippable if you know what the secret menu is. So I'm burdened with knowledge. So what can I even do? I'm like soft locked by this stupid ass Floatzel dude. Bro, just let me give him the wallet. Goddamn! But finally, I get all the Mud Slap and Sleep Luck I need to get past Floatzel, and the Sleep Luck I eventually need to get past Clauncher with Gofa. You'll notice I've been teaching my Crocodile Snarl. This will give me something to hit Kofu's Pokemon that isn't not very effective fire moves, and this move also has an 100% chance to lower the enemy's special attack if it hits. It has a 95% accuracy, so it doesn't hit. So after getting Nene on by Larry and Kofu a billion times, you'd be surprised, but I actually head to the Ghost Gym, which according to levels is the 6th gym. And I kicked their asses! This gym's trainers are like weirdly easy, partly thanks to this Driftblim committing delete this nephew. Bro, I'm telling you, I was legit shocked that I beat all the gym trainers on the first try. But no way in hell was I gonna beat the gym leader herself, since she had 4 Pokemon, one of them being a scary ass Toxtricity, so no. But this gives me just enough levels to maybe, just maybe, think I could kind of have a chance against Kofu, or excuse me, Volton Veluza! Now, this doesn't translate well into a fast-forwarded video, but I was stuck on Kofu for literally days. I spent an IRL 3 days at this point just RNG fishing against Kofu. I can't put into video form how excruciating it was to try to beat him. The worst part was I knew it was like theoretically possible without relying on like hella Quick Claws and Focus Bands. I don't think it's entirely unreasonable to say that the chance that a combination of move outcomes that would lead to my victory occurs was somewhere within the single digits to the 0.1%, as opposed to being like in the hundredths or thousandths, which is probably the margin where I would conclude that the run is impossible without rare candies or a reset. Oh, also, sometimes this battle has Sandstorm going on, so you think that'd be good chip damage against Kofu's Pokemon, but most of the time it would just put my Pokemon on a timer and turn his Wugtrio's Water Pulses from 3-hit KOs to 2-hit KOs. I don't actually think it ultimately really mattered that much though. Anyways, I seriously felt like I had like soft locked myself. Was this it? Was I doomed to just be a victim to Scarlet and Violet's weird level curve? I mean, not like there's anything wrong with a weird curve. In fact, some people say that a weird curve is quite enjoyable and sometimes more satisfying. Remember that Kirby level called Weird Woods? Jesus Christ. I became an old man, died, reincarnated, died again, and then reincarnated again in the time that passed between starting Kofu and the present that you're watching on screen. But there's more video left, so you know something must have budged. Now, let me make something clear. I fought Kofu for so long that I had this all down to a complete science. I think I reset it against Kofu around 20 times. And keep in mind, because this is a real Nintendo Switch, lag and all, and not a sped up emulator, resetting 20 times alone takes around 20 minutes of real time. Not to mention this long ass cutscene that happens every time. You would not believe how many times Snarl missed as a move with 95 base accuracy, and how many times Crabhammer didn't miss as a move with 0 base accuracy. I actually learned something very interesting on my 756,000th attempt though. Sixth Man and Punchly actually outspeed Kofu's Crabominable. This gives me at least one guaranteed yawn. Despite all the things that can go wrong in this battle, this is what kept me going. Okay, I'm sorry, I might be about to ruin Crocodile for any of you Crocodile fans, but his feet remind me of the guy that had boots on in the shower. This only enhances my love for Crocodile, personally, but I'm sorry for putting this image in your head regardless. So the plan here is that Gofa survives an attack against Veluza, unless it crits. Granted, it crits a lot, especially because Aqua Cutter's got a higher chance of doing that, but this gives me one single opportunity to use Mud Slap. Most of my Fuecocos, except for Nesundorma, can live one Aqua Cutter from Veluza to be able to use Yawn. Since it's weak to Snarl, I can just knock it out from there as long as it doesn't wake up or it keeps missing. Wugtrio will always use Water Pulse against my Crocalors, but it's using its really bad special attack stat, so that gives me an opportunity to use Yawn and Snarl to essentially neuter it enough to defeat with one of my Crocalors. Now, the whole point of all of this is to have enough surviving Crocalors to be able to take on this. Here's what needs to happen. Crabhammer misses, Focus Band or Quick Claw activates, and I need to have at least one extra Fuecoco alive to take the hit during the turn that Crabominable is awake. Then I need to use a shit ton of Mud Slaps and sacrifice 9 baby animals and do 80 cartwheels on a Sunday. I have a literal, actual, for real, 100 gigabytes of footage of my Pokemon just dying repeatedly to Kofu in every way imaginable. But I can't do it. I can't. I can't! I go and beat Titan Donphan, this time without losing a Pokemon because I get really good RNG on it, and then I attempt to beat Rhyme, but I get my ass handed to me. With the levels I got from Iron Treads though, I figure it might be time to attempt Kofu again. At this point, I'm just using Super Bok to defeat Veluza and Wugtrio because it doesn't really matter what health I'm at during the fight with Crabominable, since I'll be one-shot anyway. I get Crabominable to fall asleep and Mud Slap the hell out of it. And thank Jesus! I did just enough damage to defeat Crabominable, and that was easily the most difficult thing we've had to do in this game thus far. Volton Veluza! Now Larry. The plan against Kamala is just to Mud Slap the shit out of it with Gofa. It pretty much only uses Slam, which is inaccurate to begin with, so there's a low chance of it racking up too many kills. The important part is preserving a Pokemon that can defeat Dun Dun Dance. It mostly wants to use Drill Run on my fire types, so even just one Mud Slap is pretty efficient, since Drill Run doesn't have perfect accuracy. I can then put it to sleep and finish it off with Punsley of all people. Though Staraptor terastallizing means it's susceptible to Mud Slap, I simply can't afford to go for it, and also nothing survives its attacks. I managed to get one Yawn with 6-man in before it's all up to Super Bok. I have gotten a lot of really good luck up to this point, so I really don't want to make a mistake here. Then it reveals Aerial Ace, which has a special effect that it can never miss no matter what. But thank God, it's only a 3-hit KO. But you know what? I predicted the shit out of that motherfucker and I got the Yawn on the turn it wakes up, giving me time to go for my new move, Fire Blast. Thank God I get 2 hits in a row with Terastallized Fire Blast, which is just enough to finish off Staraptor. Now, we can finally relax. No! Yo, check out this funny ass cutscene glitch though and my real-time reaction to it. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Another cheerleader defeated. Well done.
Bro, where'd you come from? So yeah, we're forced into a battle with Nemona without even being able to save. Somehow, I get past her Lycanroc with accuracy and Yawn shenanigans, since her Lycanroc isn't immune to sleep anymore. I defeat her Gumi by using Snarl to make it hella weak, and hilariously, Nesundorma, our weak utility bot, clutches the kill on Palmo through paralysis due to Mud Slap. I want to preserve as many Pokemon as possible for the EXP on this fight, so I actually do a kind of risky play and put Meowscarada to sleep and get Super Bok in using switch shenanigans. One Fire Blast probably would have one-shot Meowscarada after Terra, but I used 2 flamethrowers to make sure I'd hit. Somehow, we beat Nemona on our first try. The first time we beat a trainer on our first try in what feels like forever. It's at this point I'd like to say I know the Mud Slap strategy can potentially be a little dumb to watch, but being this underleveled with such a slow Pokemon, it's legit like my only pathway to victory for these fights, so warm piss. I don't really know where to go next, so I try fighting the guard in front of the Fairy-type Team Star base, Harrington, and I actually win on my first try. But then I realized I didn't have the Lucky Egg equipped, Lucky Egg giving the Pokemon that holds it 1.5 times more EXP from every fight. So to eke out like 500 more EXP from that fight, I reset. And by God, I didn't realize how unfathomably lucky I got to beat Harrington on my first try. Beating Harrington involves Morgrim using Torment on its first turn, while you either put it to sleep or reduce its accuracy. If it chooses instead to begin sweeping you with Dark Pulse and Nasty Plot, you just reset the game. If you somehow manage to defeat Morgrim, Hatchrim gets to decide your fate by either sweeping you with Psychic or giving you exactly one turn of freedom with Calm Mind so you can put it to sleep or use Mudslap. And I didn't realize how uncommon it was for the Morgrim to go for Torment and the Hatchrim to go for Calm Mind to let you set up on them and subsequently win after they miss a bunch of times. It was unreal how lucky I got that first time around. So since I can't beat him right now again, I try to see if the Psychic Gym's trainers would make for good training dummies, but there's one problem. While I get past the first trainer by the skin of my teeth and I needed to terrestrialize, you don't actually heal in between battles. So yeah, I got my bung smacked. So it's back to the goo goo gaga luck out the Harrington battle strategy, which after actually only around 30 more minutes of trying, I do get. It's at this point I consider taking on the Ice Gym since I have a type advantage. I promptly get outsped and earthquaked by Beartic. So no. Rhyme is like the only trainer that's even remotely possible to beat right now that can give us experience, so guess we got no choice. I did this battle like a million billion times, and what I found out is that her Pokemon surprisingly don't really do that much damage. I try to debuff Mimikyu like crazy and get rid of Bayonet as fast as possible since it has Sucker Punch and Shadow Sneak. And while there's strategies to make Sucker Punch useless, I just didn't want to deal with it, and Bayonet is easier to knock out. Houndstone always goes for Phantom Force on healthy Crocolores, and it goes for Play Rough on weakened Crocolores or Gofa. So I use the free turn that Phantom Force gives me to either debuff Mimikyu further or prepare a big attack for Houndstone. The idea is kind of to just put Mimikyu out of the game so that it can essentially become a 2v1. Certain actions such as living a big hit, knocking out a Pokemon, and using a super effective move give you stat buffs from the crowd cheering. So I try to time these to happen when a Pokemon that's going to stay in for a little while longer is on the field instead of one that's about to die and therefore not be able to use the boosts. By keeping Mimikyu alive and crippled and Houndstone not attacking every other turn, I set it up so that Superbok can terrestrialize and knock out both of them before Toxtricity comes in. Terrestrializing gives you an Omni boost, so that's a boost in every stat from the crowd, letting you attack her Toxtricity once really hard before it terrestrializes itself and gets its own Omni boost. Rhyme scares the hell out of me by paralyzing both of my Pokemon, but it's too little too late. One Mud Slap from Gofa allows me to dodge Toxtricity's next attack and knock it out. Superbok and Gofa, our power married couple, carried the hell out of this fight, leaving everyone alive except for the two initial Crocolores that were sent out. Not bad at all. But now, finally, Superbok evolves into Skeledirge, learns Torch Song, and I can enact the plan that I've been wanting to do for this entire game. Torch Song raises your special attack every time you use it. I'm planning to put a Choice Scarf on Superbok so that it can outspeed everything with Torch Song and get a snowball rolling with the boosts it gives. Before that though, the Poison Star Team guy. Okay, now we have to fight Nemona again, and honestly, even though she's challenging, it's nothing compared to the absolute mental marathon that Rhyme and Kofu were, so I'm fine with just somehow Mud Slap Yon sweeping her with Gofa. I don't know how that happened. And then I just destroy her Meowscarada's entire ancestry line with Skeledirge. Now, all we have to do to enact my plan that I wanted to do the entire game is get a Choice Scarf. Oh, it's $100 million. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've been grinding items and money for like an hour, I have the thingy. I'd like to let Grusha show you how broken Choice Scarf Torch Song Skeledirge is. Yeah. Those two Psychic Gym trainers are also pretty much the same story, although Grumpig having Thick Fat scared the hell out of me, but it's okay, I lived. Now, I employ the same strategy on Tulip, and for some reason I thought her Florges had a chance of living my +5 Terrestrialized Torch Song, but it didn't. If you're getting tired of the Choice Scarf Torch Song sweeps I did and are not looking forward to more, don't worry, there kind of aren't any. The next few battles are not that. With 8 gym badges, I'm able to take on the Elite Four after this long interview cutscene. You already know I'm telling her the hardest gym leader was Kofu. Now, let's have a quick review of what types fire does poorly against. Water, rock, and ground. What the fuck do I do against Rika? She has a Rhino-ass bitch with a sturdy ability, so it always lives a hit from full health on 1 HP and then carpet bombs my entire team with 100% accurate Earthquake, and every time I lose, I have to do the long-ass interview cutscene because I don't want to save inside the Elite Four and lock myself in there. I mean, technically, if I want to escape, I can just not attack her first Pokemon and let it kill all of my Pokemon, but I don't know if I should resort to that yet. The long story short of this battle is that I lose. Like, very uninterestingly. I get outsped by Dugtrio, if I even make it there, and there's not much more to it. I'm pretty much guaranteed to lose this, bar some astronomically unlikely scenario involving a few Focus Band activations and many consecutive Quick Claw Mud Slaps. So my best bet is to just go to church, I guess. Huh? What's that? Saint Elamine from Mario Kart Double Dash? Donphan has a non-zero chance of using Stone Edge instead of Earthquake, and Stone Edge has a non-zero chance of missing? Yeah, but the problem is, it just doesn't. It likes to use Earthquake way more. I've never seen it use Stone Edge after the first fight I did, and I did this battle a lot. I also calced it, and Dugtrio outspeeds my Skeledirge even when it has a Choice Scarf, unless I change its nature to a speed racing nature, give it max EVs and speed, give it a Choice Scarf, and level it up a few more times. I'm pretty much running out of options at this point. I've been stuck at Rika for around a full day's worth of attempts, waiting for Donphan to use Stone Edge again. Not even miss with Stone Edge, just using it in general. I don't know, maybe I should have just changed strategy, but not me. No sir, not me, having not slept for 2 days at this point. Not that guy. So we'll ignore the Elite Four for now. We still have Team Star and Arven stuff to do. As scared as I was of a water-type Titan, I guess I forgot how awful the wild Pokemon AI is because I basically beat the Dondozo and Tatsugiri pretty much scot-free. Like, and Arven even died this time around, and I still beat it with just my boys. Hi boy! These battles weren't very interesting, just a bunch of mud slaps before shadow balling them to death, so yeah. Interestingly enough, the Fairy Team Star guy's team is essentially designed to counter Skeledirge. He has a Zoomerl as his lead, a fire-immune Doxbun, a ghost-immune Wigglytuff, and then, yeah, the Starmobile. Interestingly, it has Misty Surge, which is hilariously actually useless for it in this fight, other than letting it use Steel Roller, because the Starmobile is already immune to status and dragon moves anyway. I don't know. So what we do here is essentially just beat Azumarill fair and square by unfairly shooting sand in his eyes, then using the boost 6-man got while attacking Azumarill with Torch Song to get decent damage on Doxbun with Shadow Ball, outspeeding Doxbun with Choice Scarf Super Bok, withdrawing Super Bok against Wigglytuff so I can actually use Torch Song when I send it back out, and then through the paralysis I sustained from Wigglytuff, I actually get the Torch Song kill, and onwards we press to the fighting type Team Star, who I lost to because it started raining. And the thing knows high horsepower. So I tried again, sweeping up until the Starmobile with Super Bok, and then I just let Super Bok die after it gets outsped. It inexplicably uses Shift Gear against Gofa instead of like anything, and that lets me get 2 accuracy drops on it, which set up for a Torch Song finish by Interior Crocodile Alligator. Remember, since Team Star leaders don't give EXP or EVs, I don't really care who survives the battle. Moving right along to the next fight in Team Star's story, I can try to beat Clavel. He's gonna send out Oranguru, whose AI is hilarious because its only decent attacking move is Dream Eater, but its only sleep move is Yawn, which leads it to endlessly using Yawn over and over again while I set up Mud Slaps in its face. I can't use too many though, because I want it to have a lot of health to be able to use Torch Songs on. However, after getting past Oranguru, I'm immediately met with a gigantic problem. This Poltegeist. I could Terastal Torch Song on it and it survived, and then it outspeed me after a Shell Smash and then sweep with Shadow Ball. Even if I somehow got past it, Clavel's next Pokemon is a Houndoom. This thing resists both of my stabs. Actually, it's immune to Torch Song, which essentially puts Choice Scarf out of the question for this entire fight. But without Choice Scarf, it outspeeds, and Dark Pulse one-shots everything on my team. So what do? I don't know. Face the only other available trainer at this point, I guess. Oh, Arven's Garganical just one-shot destroys my entire team with Earthquake, and its ability makes it immune to Yawn and resist Shadow Ball. But honestly, here's some of the reasons why I persisted with this battle in particular. Greedent is not particularly difficult to beat. Garganical is only his second Pokemon. The rest of his Pokemon are decently weak to Torch Song. And most importantly, his pre-battle cutscene is the shortest. And then I found out something really funny. If I sacrifice something to Garganical and then send out Gofa, it actually uses Body Press. While I do die in one hit, it swaps abilities with me, making it susceptible to Yawn. This was like the one reason I needed Lingering Aroma Oinkologne. Jump! With the Yawn in, I try to Mud Slap it, but it outspeeds and knocks out Nesundorma. I just have to go for the Torch Song sweep, it'd probably be faster anyway. And miraculously, after only my 5th or 6th attempt, I get Garganical out of the way and can sweep with Choice Scarf Skeledirge from there. At least, at the very least, we've defeated the Path of Legends storyline with only minimum battles. I was only marginally stronger though, due to needing to sacrifice all of my Pokemon to defeat Garganical, so Clavel and Rika were still impossibly high walls to climb. I can't stress how many times I attempted to just raw fight them and try to just trick out my luck. When both of their first Pokemon require an ass load of setup to get around, it really starts to eat into time. I don't know, man. Needing to do the interview every single time I wanted to fight Rika was really starting to make me feel like a silly little monkey. I actually glazed over and accidentally failed the interview a few times because I'll just be mashing A. I did everything I could. I maxed out Superbox speed stat with vitamins and ate a food in the treasure eatery that gave me ghosty XP power for my Skeledirges. Treasure eatery. So between Clavel's Houndoom and Rika's Donphan, I was basically just stuck. Granted, I didn't feel as stumped as when I had to face Kofu, but that's because I think I had lost my sanity at this point. But you know what? What is man but the creature of persistence? Am I to be subject to circumstance, or the architect of it? Check out this awesome clip I got on Rika. Mudslap, headshot. Oh yeah. Alright, come on in, Superbok. Here comes Donphan. Oh wait, what's this? Oh shit, it's a normal Terra! And the most clutch critical hit of all time, putting me just in range to eat a Salac Berry. This berry gives me the equivalent speed boost that a Choice Scarf gives without the downside of trapping me using one move. And with that, I can defeat Donphan, and thanks to a billion vitamins that I bought by selling TMs, and also thanks to eating a Timid Mint, which permanently raises my speed at the cost of physical attack, I just barely outspeed Dugtrio at this level. Yes, I calced her Dugtrio speed to make sure I'd go first, and I needed almost every single last vitamin, mint, and level to do it, because I outsped her by a mere 15 points after the Salac Berry, and all that's left is her final Pokemon. You can see I'm not doing anything here, and that's because I'm calcing. Yes, I've resorted to using damage calculations, but I didn't know when I was going to get such good luck with Donphan crit again. I realized the only way to beat Clodsire was with a Fire Blast. Torch Song wouldn't do enough damage to one-shot it. Thank God that the Fire Blast hits, and we finally broken free of the chains. Poppy is next, and while she is Steel type, there's a new problem. She also has a sturdy Pokemon, being Magnezone. How are we gonna get around this one? I don't want to reset all the way to before the interview cutscene and do that whole ass thing again. Plus, Rika's Donphan critting me to put me into Salac Berry range was like legit the luckiest thing that could have possibly happened. Well, I'm not sure if this plan is even more likely to work than if I just Choice Scarf speedran it, but sure as hell is cooler. I'm gonna use Roar. When I first saw that my Skeledirges wanted to learn Roar via level up, I mocked the very thought. Such simple-minded peons. They want me to spend precious turns not slapping mud. Preposterous. Well, here's me. Spending turns. Using Roar, I wanted to draw out Magnezone, then hit it with any move, leaving it susceptible to Torch Song. So of course I get her fucking Tinkaton, which scares the living shit out of me as it terastallizes and threatens to whoop my ass. But then I remember its stats look like this, and then I win, because the next Pokemon I swap in is Magnezone. Amusingly, the AI doesn't save the strongest Pokemon for last if it has already been brought in with Roar, so she immediately switches back into Tinkaton. And then, yeah. Oops! Next is Larry, and I was legit sweating at this point. I didn't have a solid plan for Larry. I only had 2 Salac Berries left for 3 fights, so I had to choose wisely where I'd use them. I figured I needed to use it now due to him having a Flamigo and Staraptor that I wasn't sure I was gonna outspeed, and I didn't. But I won. A lot has happened over the last 3 fights, so let me just backtrack and say I was able to change Superbox Terra type because they give you free normal Terra Shards at the Treasure Eatery. You can also get Dragon and Rock Terra Shards from doing the classes at the Academy, but I didn't feel like it, and also normal boosts Hyper Voice's damage. Speaking of Dragon Terra Shards from doing Hassel's classes, next is Hassel. The plan is to set up Torch Songs against his dragons so that I have enough special attack to sweep with Shadow Ball, but I can't set up against Noivern due to it being immune to Mudslap. So I roar it out and get the best possible switch in, Dragalge. Its tankiness lets me set up a bunch of Torch Songs and just go to town on his team. And like that, finally, I beat the Elite Four. It really doesn't translate well how long I was stuck on Rika in real time because you're seeing a truncated version, but at least now I can tell my descendants that I once played the same fight in Pokemon over and over again for 2 actual real-life days because I forgot about the existence of Salac Berries. You can get Salac Berries, by the way, by doing the DJ Max thing with the hot gym teacher, so yeah, this is it. I got incredible luck on Rika and Hassel. I've pulled out everything I got. I've used up all my Salic berries. I've even saved because I'm so nervous. It's time to take on the top champion Gita. I told you Gita freaking dies. Okay, rewinding just a bit. Basically, Espathra can't be set up on because of its ability, so I just leave it at low health after putting it to sleep and using Hex with 6-man, and then I just Torch Song Sweep with Choice Scarf Superbok. I was fully planning on sacrificing Superbok to Glimora, but she actually lives the Sludge Wave and gets my team all that sweet champion EXP. Then I got my ass handed to me by Nemona. Here's what has to happen for me to beat Nemona. Yawn and Mudslap shenanigans on Lycanroc until I can get 3 Torch Songs on it with Superbok holding a Salic Berry. Note that I only get 2 here. That's important because although she inexplicably sends out Earthworm next, after that is Goodra. Originally, I'd use Torch Song and then Terrestrial Normal Hyper Voice to knock it out, but then Palmont comes in close combats. That's fine, I have Endure. Oops, I farted. So I need to keep Skeledurge as a ghost type, and that makes Hyper Voice not kill Goodra just barely. It's at this point where you would say, okay, then you're gonna use Shadow Ball, right? To which I tell you, what if I just forgot that I have Shadow Ball and just make Goodra miss with Muddy Water instead? After that, it's just a clean Torch Song Sweep, and Victory Road has been cleared with minimum battles. Okay, it's at this point I realize right now that I didn't script my explanation of how I beat Clavel, but basically, the normal Terra and the Salic Berry just trivialize the entire fight. You normal Terra right when the Poltegeist tries to go for Shadow Ball, and then you knock it out with Torch Song, and then Hyper Voice and Torch Song to beat everything else. Now, the only reason I left the final boss of Team Star for last is because it needs to be nighttime for it to happen at all, and my game was like perma daytime. I realized way later on that they just automatically turn it into nighttime if you just go to where the final boss is, but I didn't know that at the time, so I like legit waited. You'll notice that we're kind of almost caught up in levels somehow, so that just further goes to show what a weird-ass decision the level curve around Kofu, Iono, Larry was. Also, Umbreon getting 3 crits in a row with Dark Pulse 2-5 accuracy drops, what the fuck? It took me a million years to figure out how to beat Penny, but basically I needed to defeat Umbreon with not Superbok in order to lure out Vaporeon, which is the one I actually needed to set up on. Ideally, I'd get a bunch of Snarls on it and deplete its Hydro Pump PP before setting up on it. Note, I can't Terra Normal and Endure to get rid of my water weakness and get Salic Berry here, because all of her Pokemon have Quick Attack for some reason. So I get rid of the Salic Berry altogether, and I put on a Lucky Egg, because turns out Superbok outspeeds everything naturally except Jolteon. So yeah, after beating Vaporeon, it's just a matter of not getting paralyzed by Jolteon's Thunder. And then I go Terra Normal when Sylveon attempts to Shadow Ball. And now finally, Area 0. Aw shit, here we go! You can just slide down the cliff, and it warps you to the next research base. It was like 5 AM the first time I got here in my first playthrough of this game, and this was the only way I was able to progress because I couldn't navigate this place. After fighting the Glimora, Iron Bundle, Iron Treads, Iron Hands, and Iron Jugulus, all of whom you can't run away from or catch, it's finally time for the big boy fight against the final boss. Here we go! I send out Gofa, tried and true, and begin the whole Yawn and Mudslap shenanigans. Even in the final battle, we're still up to our old tricks. After sufficiently neutering the Iron Moth, Superbok's ready to Torch Song. 2 boosts. Iron Thorns comes out. Iron Thorns destroys my entire family and life saving. You may be asking why I didn't Terra to avoid the Stone Edge death. Okay, new plan, get 1 more boost. The Torch Song damage indicated that I'd probably get the kill with Shadow Ball if I'm +3. Indeed, I did. From there, Iron Jugulus comes in. I need to Terra Normal here because I still want Torch Song boosts, but I don't think it will one-shot Jugulus. And then, yeah, that exactly happens, and I would have died to the ensuing Dark Pulse. I use Endure because Iron Hands has Fake Out, but the AI opts to like not use it, so I don't know. Just in time for the final battle, I get the super badass Overheat, and promptly delete Torch Song because I'm done using it for boosts. Anyways, I defeat Iron Bundle with a Hyper Voice, and thank God, Overheat hits the Iron Valiant. I know, okay? I know that optimally, I would have just used Hyper Voice on Iron Valiant because it doesn't have a chance to miss. Or I should have calced whether or not Torch Song would kill Iron Bundle, but in my 7 AM balls-tripping mind, I just did not want to miss the one-shot on Iron Bundle, so I just used the strongest move I had since I knew Overheat would one-shot Iron Valiant if it landed. From there, our Miraidon has its anime protagonist moment, and we finally beat the game by only partaking in mandatory battles. Now we can finally listen to Shape of You by Bob Dylan. So, Can you beat Scarlet and Violet with the absolute minimum number of battles? Short answer, yes. Slightly longer answer, I don't know if picking Sprigatito or Quaxly renders this challenge harder or easier. Fuecoco has a really easy time with the first two gyms, and it's not like Clough's Titan AI makes it particularly difficult. I imagine Quaxly's difficulty with Brassius and Iona would probably present problems not too dissimilar to the ones I had against Kofu and Rika. Sprigatito might be even better to do this challenge with, but I'm not sticking around to find out how long it'd take to beat the bug gym with it. Additionally, this challenge changes slightly in Scarlet. As far as I'm concerned, at a grand total of
56
battles, without any rare candies, or optional battles, or picnics, I've beaten the game. I give this challenge a difficulty rating of Volton Veluza.